day began the same as any other day did, with Colin and Ian going to work and Graham going back to Newtown High School. And that left Leona, Tony and I at home. Tony studying for his supplementary matriculation exam, and Leona was there because her husband Neil was in camp with the CMF, and Leona was 7.5 months pregnant. We sort of, by the middle of the morning, the smoke started to get very thick, and a neighbour from down the road came up and said I should open the gates to let our cows out onto the road, because he thought the fire was going to come down into the paddock where the cows were. But I didn't open the gate, and from then on, time just, I had no idea what time it was, and it just went until about 7 o'clock that night it was, before I realised what the time was. But after lunch, Tony went up on the hill with a knapsack pump, because he thought he might be able to put some spot fires out in our bush. And I took the hose up to the fowl shed, where it was probably about 18 fowls there, and I turned the hose on. There was only a trickle, but I took it up and I just stood there. Couldn't see Tony. I just prayed that he wasn't anywhere near the fires. But while I was still standing there, there was an enormous roar, just a roaring noise. And when I looked up, there was just a little patch of our bush, a light blazing high up in the air. And that started the cows running down the hill, and I let the cows out into the garden then. Tony came down, I ran down as well, and he was hot and really sweaty. And then while I was still out there, the councilmen came, and they realised that our house and Neil Gillard's house was in real danger, and they came and fighting the fires. And I can remember I could still hear them saying, "Missus, it's time to get out. Missus, give me a sack, find a sack for me to fight the fires. Missus, loan me a shirt to cover me bare back. And Missus, get out now or it'll be too late." And I think I'll forever think of those councilmen when I hear the word Missus. I sort of feel that those councilmen probably saved our house and Neil Gillard's house. I went back down inside, and the next thing, Colin was home, and I felt that he was home, so it wasn't my responsibility, and for some reason I decided to leave, and I gathered up some things, and then I walked up to the road. Can't remember walking up the lane at all, but when I got up to the road, a taxi was there, and he took me down to Mrs. Fox, where I went in there where other ladies were, and we weren't there long, and we were told to get out because the houses were in danger. So Jenny Gray from next door to Mrs. Fox had her car all packed up ready to leave, and so she took Mrs. Fox and I away with her, and we went to her mother-in-law's in the McCann Crescent area. And there was a little baby, there was a lot of ladies there, and there was a little baby on the floor. And Jenny kept going and trying to find out where all the fires were, and she came back once and said that a man and his son had been burnt in Brushy Creek Road in the bushfires. That just shattered me, but for some reason no one else seemed to worry about it. But I sat down, I stood up, and I sat down again. I just had to do something, so I picked the little girl up off the floor and walked around, just talking to her. And then it was quite a long time before Jenny came back and said that the man and his son were right at the end of Brushy Creek Road. So that made me feel a bit better. And after a long time, Jenny was able to take us home, and a few emotional minutes there when we all realised that we were standing here with our house still there. But everything around was just burnt black, just everything. And then the boys sort of had to keep an eye on everything, and in the after we had a little bit of tea, the boys decided that they would have a roster of 2 hours all through the night checking on the fires to see that there wasn't any sparks going to start again. And so they did that, which probably helped a lot too.